Hello. Welcome to Transforming Your Video Marketing to be Actionable. The last spot before you guys get to go have drinks. No pressure on me. I'm Sina Shelton. This is a really, really big room. And I got to tell you guys a couple of things. One, when I was a kid, my mom said, Sina, you should speak softly and carry a big stick. I was a little bit of a bully. But she also said you should take feedback. It's a gift. So I wanted to let you guys know, this is a large room. I've done a few of these, and I heard the feedback that I'm soft-spoken, so I'm trying really hard to scream into the mic for you. And I left my big stick in my hotel room, in case you're wondering. So if you can't hear, let me know. Hopefully you can hear me in the back. If not, get cozy. We're all going to drink later and network. A little bit about me. So I spent 12 years at Google, specializing on YouTube, brand, performance, influencer marketing, doing the first live stream of a music festival, Coachella, and then doing all kinds of things like gadgets and breaking pages and learning from failures and having engineers tell you you really should learn how to code. And then in my final role, I was the global lead for Google's brands on YouTube. So my team was tasked with a very small little mission, as you may call it, make Google the best digital marketer on its own platforms, and in turn, inspire other brands. So a lot of the things that I'm going to share today is based on the learnings and the experiments and launch and iterate strategies that we had and that we learned from, and some of the other things that I've learned along the way. So I recently left, started my own company, started traveling internationally, doing consulting, doing trainings, going to South Africa a lot, and working with folks there. So it's been a really exciting time, and I'm really excited to be here. So thank you guys for coming. So, transformation. So we're going to talk about a lot of the simple and effective tools, tactics, strategies, how you can transform videos, specifically on YouTube, to be more discoverable and actionable. Now, these are essential when you're running media, but the things I'm going to cover today are not based on buying media. They're for everyone. They're organic tactics that you should use to dress up your media, but you should also use it if you have any video content or you're planning to use YouTube to reach your customers, brand yourself, or become an influencer yourself. But before we get started on that, I have one more story. So I grew up in South America, but I moved to New York relatively around my teenage years, so I've been in New York a while. It turns out people go to New York a lot because they think Sex and the City, I think, told them that's where you find love. So I want to talk to you guys about something that's really important to me. I want to talk to you about love. Now, it's really hard to see all of you, but you guys are pretty good looking. It's probably one of the hottest crowds I've ever seen. I mean, we'll all see each other later, drinks, and I'll figure it out. But let's talk about love. So, dating in New York is a sport. And from what I've learned, you move to New York from all over the world, find love, and what ends up happening is you get on a dating app. So, this is based on all my research, drunken stories from friends. This is what I've learned. So you get on a dating app, or all of them, and you have to create a really lovely profile. So you go and you look in your reservoir of selfies, find the hottest picture of yourself, maybe add a filter or some light, whatever you need to do, tweak it a bit, and then you write up a profile. Nobody here is going to write some stuff that's lame, right? You're going to talk yourself up. You're your own front man. So let's say I did that. I find a hot picture, write up a nice description, get a nice headline going, and then something incredible happens. So we're going to go with my fantasy because there are too many of you. So this guy comes along. I don't know if he swipes or whatever it is. We're going on a date. So of course I spend time getting the eyeliner and the hair right. But you guys are not going to believe this. Thor is actually super smart and engaging. It's not just hair, abs, and the eyes. So we're having the greatest date ever. Obviously, he's enamored with me too in this fantasy. So how do we get to love and loyalty? Well, according to what I learned, you're going to need a longer conversation, more conversations. We're going to form a deeper connection over time so that we can get to a conversion, right? Now, I don't know where your heads are going to go with that because I don't know what kind of people you guys are yet. Find out later. But it's very similar to marketing, right? So we started thinking, how do we go from a first date with a customer with video all the way to love and loyalty, beyond conversion? And so this framework is a framework that I came up with to kind of simplify and really just, it's a lovely metaphor for dating when you put it right next to marketing. It gets a little out of control, you'll see. But this is one of the things that we kind of created, and people love the 3 C's or the 7 T's, and so kind of have that flow. So let's talk about discovery. So you have to be out there to be found, but you also have to take some necessary steps. 90% of shoppers say they've discovered new brands and products on YouTube. So it's the right place. They're searching, they're passionate, they're engaged. So it's your job to make sure they're finding you. But it turns out the biggest brands that I worked with, they weren't spending time on the basics, the foundation of these campaigns where you take time to make sure you set up your profile properly. So having a title that is going to grab attention, that is optimized for search, that is basically going to call out the brand and make your videos unique. Taking time to upload a custom thumbnail. YouTube picks the 25, 50, and 75% of a video. It's random chance if that thumbnail will be the best image for that video or just a random frame. So using custom thumbnails, this is your profile picture. Treating the video with the amount of respect that you would your own dating profile by giving it a gorgeous thumbnail that is going to make it stand out in search, that matches the title. And then there's the description. So you can create an easy template for this. You don't have to write a soliloquy. But it turns out before you hit the show more button, that's the golden real estate. Because most people don't hit show more. So the template that I've suggested is just answer the question, what am I watching? And if you have something super important, a shortened URL is the best way to go to give links. Tell them to learn more, invite them to subscribe. Don't put enter spaces. I have no idea why people do that. You waste the golden real estate there. But these 3 things are really important for every video to have a chance. Now when you upload it, if you're able to have it be public, you should do that right away. Because a lot of folks will make a video unlisted. And when a video is unlisted, you can't find it. It doesn't get logged into search. It doesn't show up on a channel. Now, when it becomes public, it takes 24 to 48 hours for it to index. So you have to cater to the fact if you're starting media, or if that video is going somewhere in the world in an immediate way, it's going to take a while for search to grab it. Give yourself that time. Pad in the upload with the time that you need. This one is a really easy hack. So I love life hacks. A lot of these are kind of like video hacks, right? 80% of videos are watched outside of YouTube. It's an easy way to boost your discoverability by just translating the title and the descriptions. YouTube's also available in 91 countries in 80 languages. That's 95% of the internet. So why not also have captions and subtitles to extend your reach? So let's talk about conversation. So it turns out customers who will interact with you will spend more, 20 to 40% more. So this is important, right? Having a conversation with them. But how do you do that with video? Well, again, a very simple hack, but works so well. Instead of uploading a video and sharing that one video, upload it, put it in a playlist, and share the playlist. Simple, but it works really well. So we've done this multiple times across Google brands. This one's actually a client of mine. They had a video that was coming out with the judges of The Voice, and we wanted to test this because we weren't going to spend anything on media. So the way we went about this was we took that video, we put it in a playlist with older content that had kind of stagnated a bit when it came to interaction and views, and we created a shortened URL with the video, with the playlist. The reason we did that is sometimes when you put a YouTube URL on Facebook, I don't know, it kind of drops into the abyss. It's not prioritized or something like that. So it's just a really nice way to cleanse it of the YouTube and Facebook algorithm more. And so it'll also actually give you a little bit of extra data if you use shortened URLs. So we did this. And that's all we did. We posted it on Instagram, Facebook, we shared it. It turns out it worked so great. No media, organic views. We were able to see incrementally 11% more watch time and 25% more views. Simple tactic, but it works great. And we saw this when we used it at Google also. And so it's basically inviting them to have a longer conversation. Hey, don't watch one video, I'm going to give you 4 or 5. Now it turns out if they don't like the next video, they skip it. You can see this in the YouTube Analytics data. So you can also use YouTube Analytics to create these playlists, because you can see what videos naturally cross-promote each other, and you can create the playlist or optimize the playlist using that data. Next, ask questions. So if you want to be interesting, you need to be interested. Is that how it goes? Two-way dialogue. Asking questions is a really powerful thing to get to know your customers or just engage them in conversation. We see creators do this really well. Tell me what you think, give me your feedback in the comments. It's an invitation in. So you can pose a question in the description above the fold, or you can build it into the video itself. What do we know about the internet thanks to Twitter? Everyone's got opinions, and everyone's opinions matter. So ask them their opinion. This is another tactic. This is called a poll card. This is free, it's available to every video. You can go into the interactivity suite, and you can just create a little survey, a little poll, and ask them what they think, or maybe you ask them what content they'd like to see you create, or you can ask them anything, really. Now, this encourages two-way dialogue, but it boosts engagement instantly because it's such an easy tactic. People just have to click right in that video. And so if you have a video that's maybe older and you kind of want to bring it back to life, you can ask them. Ask them for their opinion. So let's talk about connection. Forming a lasting relationship on YouTube means subscriber base. So we talked about how important it is to give your video 24 to 48 hours to index. Now, you want to build your subscribers no matter what, because subscribers are a golden currency. They are a leaned-in audience that say, I like you, I like your stuff, I'm going to program my remote, I want to know when you upload content. That's great for you, right? Incremental views, but it's also super important after you upload a video, because their boost in their watching it, sharing it, interacting will actually propel you in search. So they help you every step of the way. Now, how do you get subscribers to be boosted from every video? One of my favorite things, branding Watermark. Now, this one's kind of silly how simple it is. It takes 5 minutes. In the channel settings, you upload this, it shows up at the bottom, it's an icon. So not only is it a great way to brand your videos with your logo, it's a great way to turn every single video into a little soldier for your brand, to allow people to one-click subscribe. So the way it works is they hover their mouse, the subscribe button's there, and you can have this throughout your video. Upload it one time, takes 5 minutes, every single video can have it going forward. Now, you'll start to notice that poll cards were at the top, branding watermarks at the bottom. You got to stay away from the corners in videos and where you're putting your logos. So as you're making new content, know that if you're going to put this stuff after the fact, the logo will compete with branding watermark. Maybe don't put it in that corner. So I love late night shows. I think Trevor Noah, Stephen Colbert, those guys, they do a really good job with end screens. But you can invite people to subscribe on the end of the video. If they're still there, why not? So you can do a subscriber end screen here, but a lot of the late night guys, the reason I enjoy their end screens is that they customize the video. They change the last 10 to 15 frames. They add in time before they upload to cater to the end screens. The fact that they're going to say, hey, if you don't subscribe, the world will end, or something fun. Now, you don't have to go that route, but you can start building your videos knowing that you're going to put this kind of interactivity at the end of it, some additional branding. And we'll go through other kinds of end screens, because you can invite them to watch more content with a different kind of end screen called the video playlist end screen. So let's talk about conversion. So if any of you have ever written a love letter, the love letter has to be about the girl or the boy, right? You can't just write a whole thing about you. it gets creepy. So if you're going to write the love letter to the customer, you have to start to learn about them. You have to create for them. And this is a really powerful thing to try and tell some old school brands, because branding, I think, has a little bit of narcissism in it, and like, this is who I am, this is my product, this is my service, you're gonna like it, watch this, you're gonna love this car commercial so much, you're gonna go on the internet, you're gonna find it, and you're gonna come see us. It doesn't work that way. We live in a place now where like people want it to be about me. Get me my delivery. Why isn't this here yet? So you gotta use data, right? Data is the new gold. So if you want to learn about your customers' interests, their passions, what questions they have, there's a great tool called Google Trends. You can actually change it location-wise. You can change it to have YouTube data versus Google. I love this. I nerd out on this sometimes just to see what people are searching for. And it's incredible, the amount of insight that you can get from this. There's an old saying that says, data makes your briefcase heavy, but insights make you rich. So taking a look at what the data can tell you as far as insights go is a big deal. It's a great way to inform content creation or media strategies, or even how to engage with customers differently. Outside of that, as you're creating that content, maybe you're doing multiple versions of it, you can then customize it and help them. What questions they have, you can create answers. I presented in Aruba, and we were chatting about how you can use this. If people have questions about Aruba, even if you're not an influencer, can you not help answer those questions and be useful to them in their journey? And also brand yourself. Win-win, right? So big call out for data. It does help with conversion. Giving actionable next step. So I'm not going to go on that date with Thor, find out he's really hot, but he's also smart, and just like be like, this was cool, I'm out. I'm going to give him a number, invite him maybe to another date. Ooh, modern little New York girl. So giving an actionable next step matters. But you would be surprised how many people don't have any call to action in their videos. What do you want them to do? It might be a branding video, but you still want them to do something. Maybe watch more, learn more, visit your site, something. There must be something that you made that video for. Now, 40% of global shoppers say they purchased products that they discovered on YouTube. So we're back to that whole thing. The right platform, they're looking, they're doing research. I mean, I will not watch a movie. I won't even buy a fan. Shower curtain, I need to know what other people thought of it. People like testimonials, they like reviews, they like learning about the thing. They do research, and they do it on these platforms. So making sure that you're found on their journey is important. But then they find your amazing shower curtain video. I don't know if that's a thing. But let's say they find your video, they're like, this is great. Don't give them a chore to go and find you again. Give them the next step right there and then. Close it. So you can do that with end screens also. You can link your associated website. When you're running media, I think this becomes an option. But outside of that, if you have a brand site, you can link it in associated website and give people that next step to come and learn more on your website. You can even use click parameters to track which video led to conversions, whether it's with Google Analytics. So start to see how that journey is looking with whichever video and where you're losing them. Shortened URLs is the do it for my mom trick. So my mom's a bit older, and she's really paranoid about the internet, and I'm her tech support. So she will not click on anything in a video, but shortened URLs, it turns out, are fine. So going back to this, if you have a next step, you can put it right below the video. And it turns out sometimes this little tactic will work better than in-video interactivity for driving clicks. So don't forget to do it for my mom. Now, this is another topic that I'm really passionate about. So I think maybe it was a year into my role as the global lead for Google's brands, I started realizing that the data was telling us that we were trying to write the love letter, and the girl or the boy, whoever you want to use in this scenario, they didn't even open it. They weren't watching it. So if you have an audience that you're trying to reach, again, calling out data, going into YouTube Analytics and seeing who you're actually reaching, who's actually watching, where they're watching from, the devices they're watching from is a big deal, because you can identify what gaps that you have, and you can fill them either by trying to course correct in your content, perhaps in your media strategy. But this one is kind of a really great way to also do that, right? Because 92% of customers trust an influencer more than a traditional celebrity or an advertisement. So this is called having that girl or boy's friend at that party introduce you with trust and reach and influence versus you trying to do the introduction yourself. Now, I had pitched that using creators a lot of times, and finally we got a yes, and we did this amazing program. And the first program, it was, I called it the Backstreet Boy of food. They're called Sorted Food. And it was basically to try and do a branding campaign to bring awareness about Android Pay. It was done so well, and we handed the trust over to the influencer because this is their bread and butter. This is what they do. And it was done so well that at the end of the program, the users were asking us to keep paying for them to keep going on this journey. So what it was is you invite them to your party, and they'll use Android Pay to pay for everything along the way. They'll come, they'll cater it. So it was a lot of fun. And it was super light, and it was really engaging because it invited the users in, and the brand just stood beside the creators instead of being like, there's a one Wendy's video where she does like a makeup thing, and she's doing beach makeup, and then she whips out a salad, and it's like awkward. So it does matter to do this correctly. It does matter to trust the influencer. But I would say, based on all the campaigns and all the learnings, that reach, trust, and influence are different. They're different currencies. So wherever you're at in your marketing funnel, if you need reach because you're maybe at brand awareness, then you might want someone with massive following. But knowing that massive following, there's obviously going to be a little trust loss, right? Logically, this makes sense. You're going to have some trolls in that group. Now you go to mid-tier or even smaller micro-influencers. They might have smaller followings, but they have a lot more trust and influence. They have a lot more of a connection with their audiences. So whichever part of the funnel you're at, it really makes sense to align that with the customer and the influencer you pick. Now, if we separate these out, and you have to start with the strategy from the beginning. A lot of times, I'll read an article about a brand using a creator and it didn't work out. And inherently, what you find in the narrative is that, what were the KPIs? What was it that you were trying to, if you don't know, if you don't begin with the end in mind, then of course it's a disaster. Nobody knows what they were trying to get out of it. So you have to know, what is it that influencer is going to bring to you? Is it a gap in your demographic reach? Is it demystifying your product and speaking for you as an ambassador? Is it you using them for advocacy, and is that going to be authentic? You can actually turn the influencers into just a sales team. I heard a story once that the #1 activator for Lyft was, what's that one guy gets the Kardashian chick pregnant all the time? Scott Disick. So I was like, wait, what? That guy's an influencer? I mean, maybe to some people, but what? And it turns out Scott parties a lot in between getting that one Kardashian pregnant. And when he's going out, he just tweets like, guys, be safe, don't drink and drive. And he sends people on a massive scale his Lyft code. So he has all these Lyft bucks. So he renegotiates his deal. He's like, you don't have to be affiliated with me, it's fine. But they kind of give him money for his activations because he drives so much. And I'm guessing there are not that many Lyfts he's going to take in a year or whatever. So if you can turn Scott Disick into your independent sales guy, you guys can reach out to micro-influencers and turn them into your independent sales team. And they do it anyway. If you look on Amazon, for example, there are a lot of people who do unboxing and reviews, and they have a little link where if you click on it, they get attribution for the sale. So why not? If these guys are going to review your product anyway, if they're going to have an unboxing, why not give them commission because they're going to sell it for you? So it's just another way to start to think. How can you use creators? Not just for brand content, not just for advocacy. You can help them help you by basically saying, hey, maybe you love your iPhone. Don't come sell an Android. Maybe just come into the store. I've seen stores get lines around the corner because people are lining up to see the creator in that store. So we actually did this with the campaign. We had a creator come in, and we had puppies. It was a pop-up Google store. That is a cheap trick, but again, who doesn't love puppies? So we went overboard. Not just the creator, puppies. So keep that in mind. I don't know. Maybe you guys find a version with kittens or cake. Cake is good too. So you can get them in a store by just having a creator attend. and be present. It's a huge haul. You can have them resonate your message. So I literally can go on for the use cases for maybe 7 more slides, but those are just some thought starters. So defining goals, we talked about this, very, very important in the beginning. Begin with the end in mind. What are they going to do? How is it supplementing your campaign? And how are you going to measure it? When you're negotiating with them, that's the best time to get the stuff, because once they sign the deal, they're not going to give you freebies. So what are your mandatory inclusions? That means, are you going to want them to make the content, post it? Do you want a round of reviews? Do you want 2 rounds of edits? These are all things that are important, because if you don't negotiate that up front, they're going to charge you extra. As you're in contract, you've paid them, they're going to be like, if you want me to post it to Instagram, like that's an additional this amount. So your best bet is knowing what is it that you're trying to get from them and making sure you ask for the stuff while you're negotiating before you sign contracts. But audience transparency is also important. Getting the data to make sure it matches, that they're still reaching who you're trying to reach, who you have a gap for, who your audience is. Because a lot of times you'll see a sheet and it's not aligned anymore. So trust but verify. Make sure that the people they're reaching, that they actually have influence and trust, that they're actually the demographic gap or whomever it is that you're after. And that's it. Now, thanks.